Driving around, looking at stuff, thinking about the cars I see on the road. It's kind of funny how, even in just a relatively short period of time, the cars that are on the road change quite a bit. One thing that I see disappearing is, soft tops. I see the convertibles disappearing. It's been a while since I've seen a pink car that I associate with Mary Kay, like one of the Mary Kay cars. And I have seen Mary Kay cars, but I haven't seen a pink Mary Kay car. So I guess at some point they changed that. I remember the Mary Kay cars used to, as I always remember them being Cadillacs. I don't know if they were always optioned as Cadillacs or whether they were offered in a couple different, but trim and makes and models. But I've seen, you know, other trims besides Cadillac get, well, makes and models or makes besides Cadillac. And so I'm kind of like wondering if that's something that got changed, but nobody ever informed me on. I know convertibles are one of those things where it's like as a kid, I thought, one day I'll grow up and I'll have a nice convertible top, and I'll enjoy driving around with the top down, showing off to people. And for one reason or another, I guess I never really got one, but even looking around, the only convertible car that I see on the road consistently is like a Wrangler, technically an SUV, but I don't really see the, sedans, even like, cause, used to like the Geo Metro, for example, was offered in the convertible trim package. There's only a couple cars that I really seen that are, convertibles, but they're not economy cars. Every now and then you'll see a performance car. You never see a four-door anymore, convertible. And I knew that those were rare when they existed to some extent, but it's like, the old hard tops. That being said, I think some of that's like the people that used to maintain those, because even then, when I was growing up, those cars were kind of old. I think kind of the people that maintained them kind of disappeared, and I just didn't really notice. I know that the landscapes of cars, because the other thing too is seeing soft top, like a soft top Crown Vic even used to be pretty common to see. The pretty much all the luxury sedans, I've probably seen one. Pretty much all the luxury sedans probably made before the year 2012 maybe, I've probably seen a soft top version of, where they put like a fiberglass shell over the roof of the car covered in, I don't know if it's like a vinyl material, but it's some sort of cloth looking material that, is always referred to as a soft top. It looks like a faux cattle or a faux convertible. And I don't know, there's something that I've seen them and I always associated a style to that I really liked. But I used to really like the spinners too. The spinner rims and donk specifically, like a nice lift kit, four door. I wasn't really a fan of like the lifted I've seen like the lifted Camaros, and I wasn't as much of a fan. I always felt that the a lifted sedan just felt like it had the appearance of perfect luxury to me. It looked like a nice status symbol. Made me think, you know what? When I make it, that'll be something that I drive. I know that the on top of the spinner rims, trying to remember The Lamborghini doors. They used to have the sometimes also referred to as butterfly doors. There was a lot of cars that would have like a butterfly door kit on them. And that was something that I always was kind of like, that'd be cool. One of these days, I'm going to get one of those hinge kits and put it on my vehicle. And then, when I pull up, and there was the butterfly door kits. I'm trying to remember if there was another hinge kit that would open the door up a little bit differently too, because I always thought it'd be cool to have the mess around with that a little bit. And I don't know, as a kid, I always thought it had style. It was something about, prestige. And I just kind of felt, I guess I kind of feel like it's something that I miss on the street today. There's nothing that I look at that really wows me anymore. And when I'm saying wow, like there's a lot of customizations that it seems like even in like the 2000s, maybe even into the 2010s, there was a lot of customization that people were doing. There was like personal customization that, wasn't things that you'd get at a dealer or maybe a regular shop. Maybe you had to go to a speed shop for it, or you had to go to some sort of custom shop to get the work you wanted done. And I feel like I haven't really seen that for a little bit now. And I kind of wonder, did it disappear? Or did it change in a way that I'm no longer with, I used to be with it, but they changed what it was, and I'm no longer with it any, you know? Trying to remember that Simpsons quote. It's a little bit hard to get it right, but it's kind of like reminiscent of like, all the things you thought you'd have. I know even the racers, they were made fun of, but at least they were doing modifications that were like inherently personal. It might not have been the thing that was considered the coolest because they're mostly doing body stuff. But I guess that's kind of like the same thing as putting a wide body kit on a Civic today. Technically, no one's stopping anyone from doing that. However, if you did it, if your Civic's not a Type R, you're going to be laughed at, So there's that. Even the one thing though too is this really changes the rims overall. Now I guess technically they are wheels, but the rim is what I always call them when they're fancy. And the aftermarket wheels that are sold just don't have that wow factor to them to me. There's a lot of fancy machining, but so many of them are so similar to each other and they don't complement the car that they're on. I see a set of well, I'm not going to name a specific brand, but pretty much all the aftermarket wheels that I see today that are being sold for older cars just don't match that body style real well. And it's hard to describe it in a way that I want to, but the best that I can come up with is, when the wheels have more details than the body lines of your car, it's kind of looks off a little bit, And that's one of those things where it's like a little bit like of less detail or a more uh a simple pattern, maybe with like some fancy engraving, would really bring some personality back. Uh some of that little bit of extra meat on them bones, Even the vehicles that have them on, it's like, when you had like the older cars, a lot of the stuff that was getting put on them to make them look fancy. The designs were relatively simple and they look good from a distance, you know? It's like the blades or I'm trying to remember what they called it. I think it called it a 3-wheel, but it was technically that triple blade design. You know, it's a really simple design, but it's like pretty looks good from a distance, looks good pretty close if you polish them well. The trying to remember the other ones that like what the names for them were. But I know that, you know, even the like the drilled wheels where it's you know, it's kind of like the cast aluminum solid wheel. It's got like 6 holes drilled in it. Those even, you know, they're nice and simple, but it's like, you know, you put some chrome on them, they look pretty good. Or you even just polish them nice. Maybe you have a nice set of tires on them. And as long as they're not like brighter than the car, it looks pretty good. One of the things that I see a lot of people doing, I guess, is I see them put a really fancy set of wheels, but like fancy in the wrong type of way, on a car that doesn't have that, you know? Paint is another aspect of vehicles, or I guess color in general. It's something that I see a lot of cars just don't have anymore. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, I made this beautiful thing, but, you know, I chose black because it goes with everything. And it's like, you know, one of the things is with having style or having personality, it's, you know, pick a color. You know, one of the reasons I hate black and I hate white is, you know, a lot of people that are picking black or white aren't really picking it because they want black or white. They pick black or white because they can't imagine driving a purple vehicle every day. They don't say, you know what, give me that fuchsia, give me that maroon. You know, I want some of that atomic yellow. You know, they just say, oh, you know, I wanted something that had a good resale value. And it's like, you know, if you want to enjoy something, don't worry about what the next person's gonna do with it. Just worry about what you want to do. And I think sometimes, you know, a lot of people say, you know, I don't want to drive an emerald colored car everywhere because I think that the next person's not going to like that. And it's like, you know, if you don't drive an emerald colored car anywhere, you know, you're not going to be known as the dude that drives ostentatiously, you know, the dude that's got that yacht in a different color. I don't know. I get a little bit sad when people undersell themselves and their dreams for what they want to do with a car and then justify it with something else. Much like when a friend is telling you, oh, you know, I'd love to go out and do all the stuff we used to do, but, you know, my girlfriend doesn't want me doing that. And it's like, listen, man, you're making the choice not to go out. You're listening to your girlfriend. Just say, I chose not to do that. I don't want to do that. It's much easier on all of us to not think, you know, that you're being held hostage by a girl because she's gonna withhold something from you just because you know, she don't like the choices that you make. And it's like, I get some of that, but it's like, you know, why let that dictate everything? Because if it's happening all the time, just accept that's gonna be your new normal. And stop asking to come out and then ask if you can change all of the rest of our night out just because your girlfriend, you know what I mean? And it's something that I find a little bit frustrating when people do it with their cars too, because it's like, you know, this thing's supposed to be an escape from life. You know, this is supposed to be our little like pocket of joy. I don't know. I guess go out there, make the best decisions you can, and you'll find your personality on that road. You know, if you listen this far, thanks for watching. You know, stay crazy, stay sane, keep it going. I don't know. Have fun.